Hello and welcome to the CDO Magazine interview series. I'm John Filipek, Senior Manager of Federal Sales for SHI International Corporation. Today, I have the pleasure of speaking with Dr. Mark Brady, Chief Data Officer for the United States Space Force. Hi, Mark. How are you today?
I'm doing good, John. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for joining us. The thing that I'm most interested to find out, and as I was kind of again preparing for this, I wanted to kind of hear this.
hmm
What are the top three things that you look for when trying to acquire new talent? Obviously, the U.S. Space Force is on the leading edge of a lot of the different things that you have mentioned already from a data transformation standpoint. So, what really
hmm
sticks out to you when looking to bring individuals in?
Yeah, I look for analytic aptitude. So, in order to assess that, we look for people who have experience in software, uh, various types of engineering, hard science, mathematics, things like that. And this, coupled with experience as an analyst, is very good. I think being an analyst is a very special kind of experience because, as an analyst, you are looking at both the customer and understanding the needs of customers in terms of data analytics, but also you're looking at the data systems that are providing you with your raw material for your analyses, and what is it in those systems that work and do not work. And I think that having that experience is something which is a real plus when you're looking at a person's resume. They should also be adept at learning new things because the challenges they face are going to be constantly changing. So that's that adaptability rather than any specific experience that you're looking for. People are going to be asked to do things different from what your organization needs today. So they have to be able to learn quickly and get on those new challenges.
Especially, I'm sure with the ever changing landscape, both from a digital standpoint, the U.S. Space Force standpoint,
hmm
um, and just all the unique things that we're being met with on a daily basis.
Yeah,
Um,
technology is moving fast.
oh yeah, yep, and it's not slowing down for anybody, that's for
hmm
sure. So obviously, we've identified then what you look for in the top talent. How do you
hmm
retain that top talent, and then again, more importantly, develop that talent? Now that you've had a couple of those key
hmm
attributes that you've been able to identify, how do you keep that resource in house, and then make sure that, of course, you're giving it enough room to kind of breathe and grow for you?
hmm Yeah, so Space Force has some advantage in this area in the sense that space is very sexy. So we have a lot of talent that's interested in working with us, and this is very helpful, especially since right now it's a very competitive environment in terms of technical talent. But I would say you want to give your people something interesting to do and pay them well as you can. And then people should be highly motivated to work. So how do you motivate people? I think having a sense of what you're doing is important, and certainly in the case of my team, they're doing really important work. And then finally, build a team culture. So it should be enjoyable working together with your teammates and asking them if they can help you out and jumping in with other people. And everyone has their strengths and their weak points. And if you can put that puzzle together in a way that everyone is reinforcing each other's strengths, then you can have some really enjoyable interactions.
Yeah, that sounds like an ideal work environment for sure in terms of working on something that's
hmm
interesting, obviously being compensated correctly, but then the iron sharpens iron methodology, it sounds like a little bit as
hmm
well, right? Making sure that
Yeah.
the like-minded strengths can work together to kind of build something bigger and better than yourself.
hmm Yeah, that's right.
So my last question then around the talent piece of it
hmm
would be, what do you believe the biggest mistake being made out there today, whether it be by management and along your peers,
hmm
or potentially even within the Space Force itself, and what could we try and do better in order to make sure that we are obviously not repeating those mistakes as we move forward here?
hmm Yeah, that's a great question. The number one mistake we make as a community when hiring talent is to hire for subject matter expertise. Uh, this should really be at the bottom of your criteria and not at the top. And the reason why is that a good data scientist can learn your subject matter very quickly. People would be surprised how quickly they can do that. And we think of our subject matter as being very special, but really the nature of data is that data is the same everywhere. Now, and then having said that, you probably won't find good data scientists off the street. So your expectation should be, again, go back to that analytic aptitude and look for that. And then once you find those people with that great aptitude, then you're going to have to train them.
So find top talent, train top talent, retain top
Hmm.
talent, right? It's
That's
as
exactly right.
straightforward
It's
as that.
all, yeah, it's all about talent. Talent is what drives everything.
That's right. And if they have somebody like yourself at the helm, they're in really good shape in the sense of being able to mold and develop them. So that's
Yeah,
great to hear that that's the mindset that you have.
I hope so.
So on our end, that's the questions that we had prepared for you, Mark. I didn't know if there was
Okay.
anything more specifically you wanted to potentially dive into on your end before we say, our goodbyes here.
Okay. I don't know if you're interested in hearing more about next generation and what constitutes that.
Yeah, yeah. Please.
Okay. So it starts with what I call the five strategic factors. And what that does is it provides the first theoretical foundation for it. You want to understand, how is it that data is really going to help me to succeed at my mission? And obviously, that's everyone's objective, but specifically, how does that work? So the five strategic factors are what you have, that's your physical assets, including your personnel, what you know, which is your data, sort of, what your competition has, what your competition knows, and the environment. So the environment would be basically all those things that are out of the direct control of yourself and of your competition. It could be the weather, it could be a mountain, it could be a river, it could be public opinion. And there are interesting interactions between those five factors. A lot of them revolve around what you know. So if you have assets, but you don't know that you have the assets or know exactly what the condition and numbers of them are and so forth, then you may not know what you have. So it's important to know what you have. And then knowing what the competition has, what the competition knows. Basically, that's your intelligence, your business intelligence, your national intelligence, whatever. And then what do you know about the environment? The environment is going to constrain you, but if you don't know what the constraints are, again, so it adds an extra layer of importance on what you know. And then it turns out that knowing, and especially thinking about knowing what you know, which sounds a little bit like a cliche almost, um, really turns out to be very profound because there's levels of knowing. You can have data in your databases and not even know that it's there. And so obviously it's not going to do you very much good. That's a level one understanding. Level two level of knowing is to know that you have that data there, and there's ways to do that using metadata. And then the third level is actually understanding the data, because just because you have the data, data can be very complex. How is it computed? What does it really mean? And so forth. And then the highest level of understanding is to gain insights from your data in the context of other data. And so from there, we go to user models. So we're really not starting with the data itself. We start with the people. What do they do with the data? And then by understanding their various activities using different user models, depending on the organization and so forth, you then understand, what is it that I need to build or do in order to support those activities. And so from there, skipping over the metrics and the measures and all and things like that that are part of next gen, it gets into a lot of best practices in terms of how do you best design a system, how do you best design databases, and what sort of metadata should you collect and how are you going to use it. So in a nutshell, that's what next generation is all about.
And how do you personally go about moving more of those four? I would call them more variables, right? Because what you know
Mhm.
is obviously just exactly that. How do you pull from those other categories into learning more and being able to expand the what you know piece of what's going on. Obviously, environment
Hmm.
will consistently be a variable. I don't know that you're ever going to be able to kind of predict, like you said, the weather. You can probably give it your best guess, as they
Hmm.
do. But how would you go about trying to expand the what you know category on your end?
Yeah, so you want to be at level 4 instead of level 1, and so the state of the art right now in most places is level 1, level 2. But to get to level 4, first of all, you need to get to level 2, and for that, it takes a data catalog. To get to level 3, you need your data dictionary. Your data dictionary is really more than just a simple dictionary. It's a tool that can do all sorts of things for you, including uh, development of data standards and so forth. And then finally, to get to level 4, you need a high degree of interoperability and integration, data integration. So one of the most important best practices is integration of your various databases so that you can see all of your data in the context of other data. So in a nutshell, that's how you would get to level 4.
Thank you so much for explaining that to me, because I think
Hmm.
that's where we're going to find the most value, is obviously kind of keep it simple, stupid, if you will, to some degree. In order to
Hmm.
get to level 4, you got to go from 1 to 2 first, and I think that's
Yeah.
something that everybody tries
Hmm.
to do, is maybe jump right from 1 all the way to 4, and maybe they miss some of the pieces along the way.
Yeah, and artificial intelligence is a very good example of that. We want to jump right to artificial intelligence, which is a great thing. But if you don't have the right data foundations to underpin that, then you're not going to have very effective AI.
Makes a ton of sense. So I appreciate you even
Hmm.
putting it in terms that I can understand, which is sometimes not that easy. So thank you, Dr. Mark Brady, for joining me today. Please visit cdomagazine.tech for any additional interviews, and I greatly appreciate you taking the time to speak with us.
All right, John, it's been my pleasure.